All right. Welcome, everybody. Amalia and Madelaine here for the Cosmic Chat, talking about the new moon in Taurus. Happy Mother's Day to all the moms and those who are not officially birth mothers, but are mothers in some other way, carers, pet moms, whatever it is.
Yeah.
Thank you for taking the time to join us today on this Mother's Day. I'm actually at my mother's house, so hence the different environment that I am in. And Madelaine and I are super excited you're here with us today. Because I was traveling and this was sort of an impromptu trip, I forgot to pack my flower cards. So unfortunately, I will not be sharing the flower card messages. So this will be a shorter, sweeter, maybe not sweeter, just a little bit of a shorter cosmic chat than usual, but powerful nonetheless. New moon in Taurus, man. I know Madelaine's going to be sharing about all the energies at play, but there is a lot going on in the skies right now, energetically speaking. Madelaine and I were talking before airing about just the intensity of the energy and just feeling a little out of sorts. And just so you know, the moon will be new moon will peak on Friday, May 19th at 11:53 a.m. It's in Taurus. Taurus is an earth sign. We've got a lot of energy around, agriculture and currency and foundation and the way that we engage with our material world. And there's a lot happening today. I think, Madelaine, you said that Mercury stations direct. I thought it was on Monday, but I may have seen that wrong. And so we've got some forward momentum, some forward movement, but we're still in the shadow period. We will be in the shadow period of Mercury for a couple weeks. So be aware of travel delays, travel issues, communication issues, technology delays. I had a pretty significant flat tire on I-95 this week. So
I had car problems too.
Really? Oh my gosh.
I had cars in the shop all week.
Yeah. Okay. So I'd be curious if anyone that's watching, have you experienced that? Because it's kind of funny that both of us had these car issues. This happened like right before I was leaving to come across the country to Arizona, and I had to address it right away. And it worked out.
Was that the eclipse?
It was on Thursday. No, Friday. I'm sorry, it was Friday.
That was the eclipse. That's when I had my problems. Everything happened to everybody on that day, that Friday at 10:30 a.m. A whole bunch of things happened. My car broke down. Everybody I knew had something happen at exact that moment.
Oh, so it wasn't the 5th. It was the 12th. Yeah. Oh, on the 5th, I was traveling and there was all sorts of crazy things that were happening that day with my technology. So my phone battery has never died, like in conversation with someone ever. I was on the phone with my son. My phone just died in the middle of our conversation. I'm not even going to share the embarrassing story of what happened with the car that day, but crazy things. That eclipse day was wild. So the May 5th eclipse, the last time that we talked about that energy, and now we're shifting out.
Okay.
Yeah, we're shifting out of that, thank goodness, a bit, but there's still some residual effects. I mean, these eclipse seasons are not just that month-long period, it carries for 6 months to a year. So whatever was happening then, pay attention.
Yes, and also we're going to talk about the eclipse that happened on April 20, or was it March 21st? It was a new moon solar eclipse at 29 degrees Aries, which is where Jupiter is going to be at this new moon. So, and then this new moon is happening at 29 degrees Taurus. So there's a very strong connection with that new moon.
Interesting.
Yeah.
Pushing behind.
And what's interesting too is because we're going to see a lot of these, shall we say, predictions or triggers that new moon had on everybody's chart really sort of start to go forward on this new moon because Jupiter is there expanding.
Okay. Interesting. All right.
At that same spot in everybody's chart.
So you know, the other thing I was noticing too was, and I was listening to an astrologer that I really love. I think you know her too, Pam Gregory. I mean, not
Mm,
personally,
yeah.
know her, listen to her. And what she was talking about recently was the Pluto Jupiter conjunction, and how to look back. I think that's right. Let me tune back into myself.
Well,
Yeah.
we are squaring Pluto, but that new moon was squaring Pluto before too. So, and the nodes now are coming into that square, plus
Oh,
we have
yes.
Mars squaring it.
Yes,
So,
it's a exactly. Yes, it was a moon Pluto square, and then in opposition to Mars. And so there's a lot of energy around, what she was talking about was like to look back when it comes to Jupiter, look back to 12 years ago, around this exact same time, and see what was happening then, because we are now going to have some resonance of that energy once more. So I was trying to think back. I'm like, I don't even remember. And so for folks who don't remember, a great way to jog your memory is if you have photos, look back at 12 years ago and see what was happening then. I usually use my kids as a benchmark, like how old were one of my kids? You know, what were we doing at that time?
yeah, right. Because 12 years ago, Jupiter, that would have been 2012. Wait, we're at
20.
we're at 2023 right now.
Yeah.
In 2012, this time, Jupiter was at the end degree of Taurus. So it was at the end of that. So it would have gone into Taurus in 2011.
Yeah.
So something going on at that point will be sort as we go, we're cycling up, we're circulating up. So it'll be a repeat cycle to that going up. And I certainly know what happened to me because it happened in my 11th house. And I met a lot of a whole new set of people, like a whole new thing happened for me.
Wow.
So yeah.
I see, I haven't had an opportunity to reflect on it yet. So I don't know for me yet what was going on at that time.
Yeah.
It'll be very interesting to look back.
It is, because you're going to see how I mean, I think to have Jupiter in Taurus, Jupiter is not necessarily its highest in an earth sign, but I recall this time, the last time Jupiter was in Taurus, the economy was coming back up. And things were, because in my financial living situation, I was gone through a divorce, we're going to have to sell the house. Our finances started to improve to the point that we could start fixing up the house, things could start progressing again. So it's almost like finances became stable again for a while. So personally, I think it's a good money time for everybody. Auspicious with Jupiter and Taurus, it's more stable, more, shall we say, creating new structures. If I reflect back on that time, that was a time where I really did, the new people that I met had a big part in the new life that I was structuring. So we're looking at, with all these, because we had Aries is the beginning of the whole thing, the initiation of the entire new cycle. And then we come into Taurus, which is grounding it, creating stability in it. Financial, because the reason Taurus is the money house is because it is stable and money grows from stability. Nature grows from stability. Everything grows when it's stable. So we have things settling for a while. So we can put the roots in and create the offspring, as it were.
And this is the perfect time to do it post eclipse. You know, it's so cool how all of this fits together, because you know, we did a lot of clearing this past eclipse season and the previous ones. This was, it was a big one.
And we have the South Node in Scorpio. Don't forget, we also have the North Nodes. Sorry to interrupt. Go ahead. Yeah.
No, please share.
Well, that's something to add to the whole releasing energy, is the South Node being in Scorpio, which is the eclipse series have been happening for the last 18 months. And we have I think another Scorpio or Taurus eclipse coming up next year, or we might be done with them. I'm not sure.
I think there's one more. There's one more in October.
Yeah.
And then it's like, that's done.
Yeah. So we're purging that Scorpio house. We're letting something go. We're releasing a toxic situation related to that. So, yeah.
Yeah. And and I feel like too, for those who are, what I'm noticing is that people who are embracing this, like really like, okay, I'm not enjoying this. This is very uncomfortable, but I'm willing to take a look and I'm willing to do the work because I'm tired of what's been happening before. They're the ones that I'm noticing are beginning to see glimmers of what's available to them that they didn't see before. And it's almost an invitation from the cosmos to look at those dark corners and to go, okay, I've been so scared of these. I've been keeping this over there for so long because it seemed like this awful thing. And now I'm kind of peeking and it's not great, but it's doable. Like it's not as bad as I thought. And deep breath. Okay, I can do it. I'm ready to do it. And I think that's where Madelaine and I come in for some folks who need a little bit of support in that deep breath step towards that, to be able to understand what's going on, you know, through astrology, through divination tools like cards, through human design, through soul contract, through gene keys, through all these lenses that we can see what's happening, and just intuitive knowing and guidance, and reminding ourselves that we have the power to access the information that we need in order to move forward, in order to move through whatever it is. Like all of these tools that we have are just helpers, but we have everything we need already. And I think that's super empowering for everyone to know, is that, you know, we may be helpers or whomever you may lean on or talk to, but you actually have everything you need. Like you have all of that available to you, and just play, see what happens. Doesn't have to be so stressful.
Well, that's the benefit of releasing the obsession again, or like we were talking about last time, and that Scorpio release of something that's been weighing you down, and then you get this buoyancy in your life, you know, after you release something. So there's a buoyancy. So
a lightness.
But I have to say something. I can't stop thinking about the fact that I'm here at this coffee shop, which I'm normally not, and look at the stripes behind me, and look at your back.
Oh,
it has been so weird like that, the synchronicity. Isn't that
wow.
Like I never have stripes in the back, and you very seldom ever have stripes in the back.
I don't. And the only reason those were there is because I was covering up all the chaos of the bookshelf.
Oh my gosh. And the only reason I was going to be tilted the other way, and there's just a window and a tree, but the sun was blaring. So I just shifted. Isn't that funny?
That is very interesting.
So
now our
weird.
stripes, like yours are vertical and mine are horizontal.
Yeah.
So it's almost like we're bringing these two perspectives that can fit together.
Yeah.
So thank you for pointing that out. That is so cool.
I was focusing on what you were saying, but it was distracting me.
Anyway,
yes.
So we're
always
excited.
Talk about that, letting the stuff go because of that south node. You know, we're releasing our baggage because we're starting a new journey. And in tarot, that little backpack is very small. There's not a lot you can bring with you.
And that I'm curious, like, so for anyone that's viewing now or even later, if you want to leave in the comments, like, you want to does anyone want to speak to what they're letting go of or what they're calling in?
Oh,
you know,
that eclipse was very clear to me. Sorry to interrupt. Yeah.
Yeah. But I feel like when we declare it,
I forget you're talking to other people. Yeah.
Yeah. When we declare it and we say, like, I'm releasing blank to make way for blank, it adds adds potency to it. It creates this energy of creation. The release and the destroy to create, almost like you think about fire that comes in and burns everything to the ground, and then that fine tunes that nourishes the earth so that it can grow anew. So yeah, I mean, there's so many things.
That's exactly what happened to me in that last eclipse, because I had it in my 5th house, exact on my Neptune, and my first child, actually my second child is Neptunian, ruled by Neptune, Pisces rising, had completely tattooed himself, and he didn't even tell me about it because he knew I wasn't going to love it. And I see him on Instagram, like right around the eclipse. And I'm like, like my little pure, handsome little boy is now this rocker tattooed out. And I was just in shock. It was just,
So, so that made you feel like what? Like, holy smokes.
well, I felt like I was letting go of the little child in my son.
Ah,
And I had to wake up and I had to keep saying to myself, he is not mine, he is of me. So in other words, God is just using me to bring him through, but he's not my possession. I can't make it be how I want.
ooh,
Let go.
I love that. I love that, that he's
Yeah.
not mine, he's of me. That's really profound. On this Mother's Day,
Yes. And then I went
even.
to the tattoo store because there's one right by where I live, and I showed it to the guys. I said, and I said, what do you? And they say, we believe in creative self-expression. And I was just like, wow, I'm really glad I came in here because they said that. And I was just like, there you go, let them have creative self-expression, which I believe in too.
Yeah, yeah.
So that was
And
in my house.
well, and that's the thing, is like we each have our little spaces of lessons and learnings. And you know, I was with my kids last weekend and celebrated my grandchild, my first grandchild, with the whole
Oh,
family.
wow, that's
And
exciting.
yeah, and then one of my sisters was there, and then now I'm here with my mom and my brother and my other sister and her family. And it's, it's just interesting. It's like all this familial ancestral connection that's happening
Was
during
that in your fourth house? Were you having a lot going on in your fourth house?
yeah, it was fourth and seventh and 10th. So I feel like
yeah.
there is a lot of activation there. And first, actually, it was
Right, all of
all
them.
the karmic points. Yeah. Yeah. So lots of I'm not totally sure what's being cleared or released, but I feel like there's a lot
We'll
of
look at it.
healing. There's a lot of healing taking place for my ancestry on both sides of the lineage.
What rising are you?
Scorpio.
Ah, well, there you go.
Yeah.
But you must have one of the other houses activating your fourth house, but we'll go through that. We go
Yeah.
through. Nice.
Yeah, we'll see. So, yeah. So is there anything you want to share specifically about the new moon, or do we want to just dive into the signs?
Well, again, the repeat sort of message in a way, we're looking at the nodes. We are looking at a Mars squaring the nodes at the day after the new moon. So, the north node is squaring Pluto. So, but the sun and the moon is trining Pluto. I'll share the screen, right? Let's share the screen.
Oh yeah, I don't know if I gave you
okay.
access.
Yeah, I'll show this little picture for everybody for a quick minute.
There you go.
On my time. Okay,
I
great.
think you have the power now.
Okay. So yes, so see that Mars, this is on the 19th, midday, northern Idaho. So West Coast. So we're looking at Mars squaring the nodes, which are squaring Pluto. Mercury is a little in on that, but not too bad. Mercury's out of that square by this. So we're looking at the nodes, Jupiter squaring Pluto and Mars. So, and Mars is at the end degree. These are all at the end degree points, end degrees, which means we're absolutely shifting to brand new starts. Jupiter's going to be at 0 degrees. Jupiter's at 0 degrees. Brand new starts at the same time of that new moon at the end there, at the end degree. This is a culminating point of new beginnings. It's kind of like the ending, final ending that initiates the true new start.
Okay.
Because we're getting a trine. You see, watch. So we're getting these, the new moon is trining Pluto. So Jupiter on the nodes is with the nodes there is giving us the confidence and the faith and the courage to face our fears and step into a new, more abundant path. And that's kind of the same theme that's been going through a little bit of the last astrological transits going on, because we're being tilted. The nodes squaring Pluto is facing our fears that are stopping us from walking our true destined path. And we're going to end up being, if you have a strong connection at these points, which I happen to do, I have my Venus right there, and my sun is here, so I'm getting trining. But what we're looking at is a strong facing of the fears that held us back and the courage to break through them, which then gives us better it is more of that kind of breaking through the old identity, whatever's in the old, whatever is in that house for you, where the Pluto is like releasing some sort of fear resistance that is stopping you from your direction in life or your mission. Jupiter on the nodes there at 0 degrees, giving you the confidence, or shall we say, the potential for expansion, the new seeding, because 0 degrees is a new seed. The new moon is a 0 degree energy. It's a void energy. So it's like we're creating a clear void, planting bed for the new birth of the new destiny. So we're going to have a lot of planets in Taurus. When the sun leaves Taurus the next day, even then, we're going to have Jupiter, the nodes, Mercury, Uranus in Taurus. So that's like quite a lot going on in everybody's Taurus house, which is about creating stability, balance, financial security, all of that great stuff that we are all really ready for, because we've been going through a lot of upheavals and sort of letting go of old lives. And now we're sort of building and shall we say earthing. That is basically the energy of Taurus, creating the stability to create the growth. As we were saying earlier, that nature seeks stable ground to plant its growth. It needs solid situations for the abundance to thrive in. So we're creating, we're leveling a field so that we can build on. And then we're basically preparing this new chapter, as it were. And the Pluto and the nodes coming in, squaring, is having everybody step up to their, shall we say, mental limited. Mars always represents limited thinking sometimes, and breaking through that and sort of opening up. It's going to go into Leo soon, which is much more passionate, and that's a great energy for Mars. But it's leaving a sort of, because Mars is a little weak in Cancer, so it's sort of more of an intuitive energy. So it's almost like we're letting go of the mental aspect of Mars and going more intuitive and following that guidance, as it were. But it's going to be very clear in this lunation, because the new moon is going to initiate, bring an opportunity that trines Pluto. So it's like overcoming that fear. You then get a trine from this new moon in Taurus. So it's like you get a financial benefit, because Pluto in Vedic is the riches. So you get some sort of winnings. So it's like facing a fear, facing your comfort zone, going out of your comfort zone. You are instantly rewarded with this trine. So
I love what you said, Madelaine, about you said it's about facing the fear to step onto or into a new abundant path. And I think that's a key takeaway for everyone to really let that sink in. It's that this period of time is giving you that little boost. Like almost, I kind of see it like a little kid that's trying to climb up something to get over the other side into like this golden future, that's really aligned, but they can't quite make it. So you got your hands on their bottom, like giving them a little boost over.
Boost up.
A little boost up.
Yeah, I think all these planets are kind of like that. They'll give you boosts in different ways.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I feel like if we make it feel more playful, not so heavy and hard, because Scorpio can feel heavy and hard.
Well, I think that's what we're letting go of. Honestly, I think we're going to find in general, we are having ascension energies coming through the planet. I can feel them too. That's why I feel very foggy brain today. But the ascension energies are very strong right now. But I just lost my train of thought. After I said that, I just instantly manifested a foggy brain.
All right. So then why don't we shift gears? I'm sure it'll come back, because it always tends to.
I remember.
Got it. Okay, cool.
So remember, this is important to know, because these squares are showing us where we're out of alignment. As soon as you get in alignment, look at all this flow. Things flow with ease and open up. And we do have a Mars opposing Pluto. So we have ego opposing our soul, coming into an alignment, going the right way. That flows. The door is going to open for us. It's going to be easy. Okay.
Nice. I love it.
So I know. Okay. So I find there's like a lot of a lot of sextiles and trines, as I've been studying this, I find that the challenge or crisis is minor compared to the good things that show up. There's
Yeah.
it's just a shift and change. It can sometimes just be action. Sometimes it looks like a crisis, but the good thing is kind of more dominant in the experience.
Well, yeah. And I think
But it depends on the individual chart.
it does. And I think it depends on the individual's attitude,
Yeah,
and
true.
perception of what's happening, because I know a few folks that I've been in contact with recently. Some of them are like, I'm done with doing things this way. I'm ready to take that leap. Others who are still clutching tightly
Security,
to, yeah,
karmic
to,
loop.
yeah. And they're happy in quotes,
Right.
with doing that. And then, and I think this is just an invitation for us to really become more playful and more in gratitude for the things that happen. Like Madelaine
Yeah.
and I were sharing at the beginning of the live, is that we both had car issues in the past week.
Mhm.
And, I had a blowout on I-95 in South Florida, and anyone who's familiar with that area knows that is a crazy stretch of highway.
Mhm.
And luckily, the way it happened, I was able to get over to the side. There were already orange barrels there, so that worked out great. There was a little bit of highway shoulder between me and the highway itself because there was construction, and I had to wait there for quite some time because they got confused below Mercury in retrograde as to where I was located. The technology wasn't syncing up properly, and in that situation, people could go in one of many ways and in response to that: upset, scared, pissed off. Very few, I think, would be in gratitude for the fact that it wasn't worse, I was able to safely get to the side of the road, and that there was space, and that there was someone coming to help me, and that I was able to get new tires and get the whole thing taken care of, and it all worked out okay.
Yep.
And it's I really was so in the flow of just the gifts in the moment that it didn't feel like a huge burden that most people, I think, in that situation would feel that it was. I felt safe. I knew that it was going to be okay. I knew that I had the power to make this go one way or the other, and it flowed with ease.
Well, this is why I think doing astrology reports is important, because when you didn't have your chart in front of you, but if you were to pull your chart, you would see that you had a couple of trines there that were going to help you out. So, but one thing I notice is that we can literally manifest by becoming conscious and aware of the positive aspect in your chart, that you have a trine there. It almost enables you to ground it and materialize it, because you become the master manifestors believe it's the power of the mind. So as soon as you align mentally with that as being a truth, which it is, you then ground that experience. So you can literally consciously manifest the more positive aspect of your charts by literally knowing that they're there.
That is very true. That is a great point. And I also know that when I've gone through a rough period, I think I actually messaged you, Madelaine. I had 7 squares and 3 oppositions and 2 trines. So I had very little positive, quote unquote, positive energy happening. And I'm like, because I look to astrology for a little glimmer, like, okay, I feel like there's a lot happening, but there's got to be something really great here. And this was actually on the eclipse, and I looked, and there was the 2 teeny trines that were very minor, and I'm like, oh my gosh, this is terrible. But really, in the end, I was like, okay, the astrology is saying this is a bit of a shit show, but I know that the shit show is creating an opening. So can I lean into the opening that's being created and know that I have the power to shift? I can work with the energy of the universe. So I feel like it's kind of exactly what you said. And when things don't look great, don't get caught up in the not looking great, because know that there's a lot more at play, and you have the power to shift that energy and how you perceive it and move forward based on what comes up. So, all right.
Bueno. So yeah, so just know that there might be some intensity because of that Pluto square is definitely intensity. So
Yeah.
you're going to be facing an intense, deep fear, not just a little fear. And like we say, it triggers and brings issues up, but it's to align you to your better destiny.
Yes.
So I guess we're going to pop up everybody's houses here and we'll go through
Yeah.
all the houses. I think this is predominantly very auspicious. I think Jupiter, I really like this new moon and this Jupiter in the picture at that same point. And I feel like it's good finances for most everybody here. Upgrades. Look at that.
Yay.
So yeah. So let's take a look at Aries. So you guys have this happening in your Taurus is your second house. Well, that's pretty nice, isn't it? So you're going to have Jupiter in your second house. Now, Jupiter in your second house increases your income, increases your potential spending. It can increase your desire to spend. I know a lot of people who have natal Jupiter in the second house are big time spenders. They cannot stop spending their money. So it's potentially that there's a new beginning that involves you needing to spend quite a bit of money, but we're letting go of the 8th house. So you've got that Scorpio up there. You've got that letting go of a debt, or it's possible you have some sort of income and you let go of a debt. Switch a new beginning, a new project that brings a new income, a new way of earning money comes in that expands your life. So just
Madelaine, I'm sorry, really quickly. Is it Aries in the second or Aries in the 12th?
Aries, for Aries, Taurus is in their second house.
Okay. Okay.
So
Sorry.
Taurus, we're doing the Taurus house. And then we have Cancer, we've got Mars is in your 4th house. So real estate related issues coming in, squaring Capricorns, that Aquarius 10th and 11th house. So Aries are looking at opening up a real estate or home or family and shall we say, releasing a resistance to something in that area. So in other words, some kind of a fear, some kind of a ego-based thought around property real estate opens up. You break through some kind of fear thing, opens up. And so in other words, it could be that you decide to let go of a piece of property and sell it and you make a bunch of money. And then you invest in another piece of property and some sort of a mental release because it's opposing Pluto. So you let go of a fear of investing in a piece of property and you increase your debt. But with Jupiter in your second house, your income can be increased as well. So you can focus if you have Aries in your chart, focus on increasing your income in that second house rather than spending. See, if you become conscious of the fact that you have Jupiter in your second house, you're not going to go nuts crazy spending money. You're going to be conscious. So expansion in your income or spending, but you're letting go of debt. So whatever it is, you're being conscious of releasing a toxic financial situation that is weighing you down, that is, you found a way to get out of debt. And so you're going to be liberated. And now you're able to take on a new life, as it were, because you're not weighed down by something in your 8th house.
Yeah. And 8th house too, for just to bring this bit of info in too, is Scorpio.
That's true.
It is that.
And Pluto is also a ruler of the 8th, which is, the Scorpio energy, and Aries are ruled by Mars, which is also a Scorpio. Scorpio is ruled by Mars and Pluto. So, it's all connecting right there. It's all about these sort of deep fear-based, survival-based ways of earning money, releasing to more faith-based that either increases your debt or releases a debt, or is around joint financing with somebody else. You join your financing and then you create a new income. You buy a new property, you join your resources with somebody, you buy a new property and you farm it, Taurus Earth. Or you lease it out and you sell it to people to farm. So we're looking at growth, financial growth, expansion, which is in alignment with your destiny because the nodes are involved. So whatever risk you're afraid of taking, go for it. It's going to be supported. The fear you have about taking it is what Pluto's bringing up for you to release.
Pretty great for Aries.
Yeah.
And I wish I had my flower cards. I was looking on the Lotus Way website
yeah.
to see if I could do something there, and I think it would be too complicated and it'd just be too much. So for whatever reason, the universe is saying, just share the information, forget the cards for now.
Yeah. Intuit.
I don't know the flowers well enough to pull them out of my head like that. That's the problem. That's why I was like, if I looked online, I would be able to see it. And I'm like, oh, that. Yeah. So
I've got
anyway,
my tarot cards, but yeah. Okay. Taurus, you guys, what can we say? Everything's happening in your first house. You could gain weight with Jupiter in your first house. Just be conscious of that. Your body expands, the first house is our bodies. It's also, you're going to feel very energized, brand new beginnings, major new beginnings when you have Jupiter in your first house, a whole new 12-year cycle, of course. And one of my astrology teachers was a yoga teacher, and he started his yoga studio when he had Jupiter in the first house. I think he also maybe got engaged and married and moved. I mean, literally, you have these incredible, big, brand new beginnings coming in. You have the new moon there. It's in between your first and your second. This new moon is a cusp new moon. So we are leading into the next house, because right away, we're going into the next house after that new moon, which is Gemini, which is ideas, thinking, planning, strategizing, which is the other energy that is involved with creating the future. So basically, we are looking at the first house, a lot of significant changes and shifts coming in, a lot of confidence, enthusiasm, energy. Now you're getting over some ego fears, because the first house can be our mind, our ego, what holds us back. So a limited perspective is being shattered so that you can take a risk. Now you've got Scorpio in your seventh with your relationship, letting go perhaps of making, your relationship they might go through a real big release or let go of something that's toxic about themselves. But Taurans are going to really be releasing relationships, toxic relationships, or toxic associating with their relationship, it becoming more healthy. Or letting go of contracts that were no longer serving them. And then enabling to step out on your own more, becoming more independent, taking more risks, letting go of toxic contracts, and taking more of a risk and not being because these would have been secure based. So now you're taking risks. Now you're shifting. There's a Scorpio energy in a risk energy when you're taking risks. Now, when I say risk, I don't mean just foolishly jumping out there without any. It looks like that with the Fool card, but we're talking about calculated risks that you can tell are universally supported, that are not that is not necessarily logic, but the universe is intuitively, the Scorpio is an intuitive energy. So you're walking into your intuitive path that it's a safe risk, that the universe supports you. But on logic, it looks like a risk. So
let me ask you a question about that, Madelaine. So would you say this would be a good period of time? And I know this isn't your area of expertise necessarily, but for like folks like myself who have Taurus as my moon, a good time for maybe different investments,
yes,
things that that have to do with the financial structures.
Yes, absolutely. Okay. Now that Mercury stationing direct, by the way, we only have Pluto in retrograde. Yes, if you see something, but you got to work with your intuitive knowing, always check in with your own intuitive knowing, because that really is the most powerful way to be accurate, in my opinion. But Scorpio is about intuitive knowing. So yes, taking financial risks and investing, absolutely.
Yeah.
And what else? Because we're squaring the nodes. So the nodes are in your first house. That's when you do start a whole new cycle of your destiny, of your path. I remember when the nodes were in my first house, I didn't intend to move to Northern Idaho. It just sort of happened. I ended up finding an apartment here because of COVID. It was in LA, and I was just coming up here for the summers. So I was going back to LA, and then COVID hit, and I didn't want to go down there because it was so locked up. So I thought, well, I'll just stay here for a couple months. And I'm still here. So my point being, why did I bring that up? Because that was the nodes in my first house. I didn't even know it. I had no idea I was permanently moving. It turned into a permanent thing.
That is so cool. You know, when you think about the choices and decisions that we make in life and how we have no idea the ripple effect
Yeah,
that they will have on
that's why
us and the
astrology.
people around
Yeah,
us, you know, because that totally changed, you know, it didn't change your relationship, but it changed the dynamic a bit, like with your boys,
yep,
with your not anymore husband, you
yep,
know, all of that shifted, and that they were able to do whatever they needed to do with each other too, because you were no longer part of that dynamic and that energetic flow. Same with me, you know?
yep,
So interesting. I find that
yeah. Really interesting.
twist. Yeah.
Yep. That's when the nodes were in Cancer.
Yeah. Okay. Did you want
So,
to say anything more about Taurus? Any other
oh,
interesting
yeah,
fun
let's look at where
facts?
Pluto is for them. Yeah, let's take a look at Pluto for Taurus. So Capricorn Aquarius, 9th and 10th. So a shift in belief system that shifts your career, that opens a career. New moon in your 9th house. I really find my experience with lunations in the 9th house, there's an opening of the mind, a new belief, a realization, a new spiritual outlook. The soul expands in that moment. And then it opens your mind to a new career, or opening your mind to releasing a fear you have about spirituality. And shifting your belief, becoming more in faith about it, more believing in it. Even I keep thinking every time I get a 9th house lunation, I'm going to see, oh, maybe I'm wrong about all this. I keep getting more confirmations. I'm like, wow, it's the
This is great. Yeah. Yeah.
I'll literally get like somebody saying you were spot on. That's exactly what happened. And I'm like, okay, that was a sign. I'm supposed to keep going. So I'm plugging in as we talk here.
Okay.
Yeah. So we're looking at Taurans really becoming confident. This is the time to take risks. Absolutely. But again, I always say, if you feel like Pluto is, hang on, I got to see. Okay, here it is. Pluto is going to scare you. But if you feel scared, I think it's a good sign you're supposed to do it right now. But always follow your intuition, throw a couple cards down, get your pendulum out. I was helping I help people when they put their house in the real estate. Astrology works great for that. I did that. It worked out great for how me and my realtor did it. And so, before you make financial risks, I say divinate and connect, follow your intuition. But if it feels good, and then you can write it down on a piece of paper, whatever big decision you're making, put it by your bed. And in the morning when you wake up, look at it, see how it feels.
That's great. Yeah. And that's a simple thing anybody can do. You don't need anything else.
Mm-mm.
Piece of
Intuition.
paper and a pen and yourself.
Yeah.
Yeah. All right. Do we want to
So
move to Gemini?
Gemini, yes, Gemini, your 3rd house. So you guys got 12th house placement here with Taurus. So this is a time for really deep introspective, unless you're traveling and going, like some Gemini, because the 12th house can be abroad. So maybe some Geminis are going abroad and investing abroad and traveling, investing in properties abroad and refixing them up and turning them around and turning them to vacation rentals or something like that. That could be part of that. Or Gemini are spending a lot of time in the country, remote, going to healing, going to retreats and restoring their stress levels and healing and preparing them for when all these planets come into their 1st house, when it's going to be major go time for them, because they're going to have Jupiter on their 1st house. So there could be planning for that, because when you have planets in the 12th house, it's very much a time to sort of self-reflect and be by yourself. So this is going to be an intense time of either being in the country by yourself or reflecting or exploring, and becoming aware of what you do really want to settle down in. But I would say that the settling energies are occurring. So I would think most Gemini are grounding a new travel plan or country or something with the environment, or out in the country, rural, spending time out there, maybe finding a house that they can go to in the country, or just meditating a lot, being by themselves and isolating, to really connect. Then they become very connected to when you do this, whenever I really am aware of this kind of thing where I really hermit and I go internal, I discover a new way or something new to do. that really advances things forward for me. So it's germination. Jupiter's germinating in you.
And that actually feels really, really awesome for those who have a comfort level with it. And for those who aren't used to that, it can feel like a lot.
Yeah.
Especially with Jupiter there.
Right. And then they're going to have that square of Mars and Cancer in their second house. So they're going to let go of fear around money. So they're letting go of money being the root of the choice, and spiritual calling being the root of the choice, that kind of thing.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Okay. Yeah.
Or convenience, or what's popular, or what everybody else thinks, or, you know, what your family usually does. You know, you're lining up with your soul in the 12th house.
Mm-hmm.
And Pluto's all about our soul. So we're really lining up with our soul's direction here with this square. That takes us to a more abundant path, because when we follow our nodes and our destiny, we live our Jupiter, that's where all our pot of gold is. It was planned that way. That's why it's so good to do.
So I don't know why what is popping in my head for Gemini is dandelion.
Oh,
And so because I don't have my cards, everyone, I can't show you a dandelion picture or read anything. But it came to me just now for Gemini. So and I love dandelion now, because I think dandelions are coming up and they're readily available. And yeah, for Gemini, that might be a great one. And that could be dandelions that you find in nature. It could be dandelion tea. Something with that energy will be very beneficial for you.
all right.
So, yeah. Yeah.
Start your own deck, Amalia.
Really, Madelaine? I have so many projects. Holy smokes.
Yes, that's right. You are a Taurus moon. So, okay.
All right. Cancer? Yeah.
Okay, so this is nice because this trines your ascendant, or sextiles your ascendant, and trines your descendant. So this is auspicious, but it does the Pluto square happens in your 8th, end of 7th, and at the beginning of the 11th. So you're getting over a fear of of relationships, not being in a relationship. Cancer have been really clearing codependency issues, attachment in relationships. We all have been attached to something that we're releasing. So they're getting over a fear-based, limited idea that's holding them back about a relationship, and breaking through in a career. And Jupiter in your 11th house is just going to be really auspicious. It was a very strong time in my memory for my financial future. It's very stabilizing. So a lot of new people coming into your life, a new relationship potential, because it's trining your descendant. But this is wins, games, future, long term. So new beginnings with that new moon there, opening up your, again, fear of what potentially people think of you, what you look like. As I was going through, worried about my hair and all that, it's like we're getting over our ego. We're getting over the with that. So that new moon, I keep forgetting to mention that we had that new moon on March 19th that would have initiated something. Now is going to go more forward. And our fears around relationships, communication, we're breaking out of, which then enables us to have a certain amount of confidence as Jupiter goes into our 11th house. So we're going to have confidence online, expanding our online stuff, new beginnings potentially with a new internet platform. Internet could, funnily enough, my Instagram feed today was at 1,000. It's the first time. I've never ever had 1,000 people. I have 1,000 people, I know. So that's exactly happening right now. So this new moon, we're looking at expansion of your social networking, clients, exposure, really great for Cancer.
I love that.
Yeah.
How cool.
And they really are letting go. I read for a lot of Cancers, and we really are all really kind of freed up of that codependency stuff. It feels pretty clear. A lot of everybody's stuff in general that I'm doing reads for feels very cleared up. Like we're seeing the karma really drop away right now, or those heavier energies sort of lighten up around the Capricorn house, basically.
Nice. And that's feels so much better because Capricorn is very like
And yeah, heavy.
yeah. Okay, so Leo, I
So,
can't wait to hear about Leo.
all right, Leo, Taurus is your 10th house. Yeah, great for Leo, career expansion. I just had Jupiter in my 10th house. And that's when I think 12 years ago, Jupiter in my 10th house is when I literally started doing tarot card reading. It was literally when I started getting hired to do parties. It's very weird. That's exactly when it happened. So you're looking at your brand new career, a brand new start. So think 12 years ago, this time, and it was in your 10th house career. What initiated? What was it? What was something that you started and it started to expand in your life? And by the way, the Jupiter expansion it can take a career you already have and expand it really far, or it can take you into your current career and initiate a new start. But for me, it grounded the career. I've been working pretty hard actually with Jupiter in my 10th house. You do work kind of hard, but it's rewarding. It's your calling. It feels in alignment, and it's really Jupiter is usually living our Jupiters when whatever Jupiter expands within our own life is for the highest good of all. We're serving people. That's in alignment. That's what Jupiter's here to do, is to help us expand the thing that helps other people. So your career in the element or in an angle or in a way that expands the highest good of all will really do great. That's great. I really loved having Jupiter in my 10th house. I thought it was great. It's really, do you focus, you see what it is your career is, you see your calling, it becomes clear, it goes forward, you're supported. Now, let me think of a slight shadow aspect with Jupiter there. You might work too hard, overdo it.
Yeah.
So just don't, with Jupiter in general, really the secret is to not overdo it, not work so hard, because it's already a fire energy. It's like a jet engine. It's like it's jet propulsion. So it's like the more you hold it back a little, the further it takes you. But if you it can burn out really quick. So you just want to manage that energy a little bit.
Well, I think that's good in general to remember to just keep it balanced. Take work and play, balance the two. Yeah.
Well, Sagittarius energy is Jupiter energy and is sort of known for the energy of overdoing something, doing it too much. Also, like if you have Sagittarius, I always suggest people Sagittarius to not try that hard. Like you don't want to try when you have fire in your chart. It's Leo, you don't want to try. The fire is already there. You just let it happen. You just let it burn. Let that fire inspiration, but you never want to try in fire energies. That's something I teach my fire class.
I love that. That's a great thing because you already have what you need.
Yep. You push.
So
if you try, when you have Sagittarius in your chart, you try too hard. I see it all the time. You block it.
Yeah.
Yep. So you don't want to try that hard. The fire will do it for you. Jupiter will do it for you. Just align consciously that Jupiter is there and work with it. We work your fire with it in the sense that you don't burn yourself out, but you let the energy be there and progress.
Hopefully so it's knowing what you're inspired and excited about, taking action towards that, but you don't need to go like full throttle.
Right.
So let's just say you want to start a new business. You know exactly what it is. You know it's also going to help other people. You share one small piece of it. You don't need to create the whole thing and go, oh, here it is. It's like share this piece. And then as you do that, more information will come and you keep going because you have the fire lighting the whole thing up.
Yes. And don't forget that's a Taurus energy too. So that is kind of hard work. You are establishing your new career. You are grounding it. Most likely it is a newer career path, but you are starting to do the necessary groundwork or the laborious aspect of it. And it doesn't have to be laborious, but it's the hard work, the grounding of it, the creating the grid, the structuring. In the career, and it's a new structure, and that's kind of what happened with me in my career. I mean, things, although it was a fire energy, because my 10th house is Aries, things were pretty go-go. But yes, the secret to fire energy is to not activate it.
Okay.
Yeah.
That's a tricky thing.
It is. You're inspired by it, but then let the inspiration push you. And I teach that there's a meditation you can do where you sit on a couch, you don't do a darn thing, nothing, until that fire inside you pushes you up and you hear it and you feel it, and it takes you exactly where you want to go. So that's something I like to do.
That's
But
fun.
that's the secret to working with fire, is let it pull you. Don't force it. Don't push it. So,
Yeah.
all right.
Right.
Yes. this is kind
Virgo.
of- okay. Virgo, you guys have Taurus in your 9th house. So, wow, either you're going to start learning a course and really take on a new, shall we say, serious study, college, university, learning practice, or you start to teach, you start to set up the structure so that you become a teacher online. I know some Virgo rising who could possibly start doing that. You start learning astrology, you start teaching astrology, you do a group, you start coaching online and raising people's vibrations, health, healing, you become a healer, medicine type person, or philosophical, you raise the consciousness and knowledge around health issues. And it sort of trines your 6th house of health. So it's like you've learned a lesson around health that you now are using to help others, teach people. Virgos are often that's a very medicine people. They're very, very good at medicine and healing and intuitively knowing why somebody's sick.
Yeah.
So you have Capricorn in the 5th house. So you're letting go of fear attachment to relationships, similar to Cancer. And you have Scorpio in your 3rd, Pluto there in between years. So you are seeing a potentially a relationship turns into fears you have about romance and love disintegrate, and you then open up to your true person who is a friend. You get over fear and then you go together. By the way, a lot of this lunation could have us overcoming fears that stop us from being with our true person. A lot of fears keep people separate in love. So those could be, and then and a lot of our true relationships we are supposed to go into mission with. So we get over fear of a relationship that we open up to, which then allows us on our true path with that co-mission, with that person. So we're getting over fears. We have Pluto in the 5th and the 6th. So stepping more into a healing conscious journey. But with Taurus in your 9th house, you're learning and teaching and becoming also something that you believe that now becomes your new structure. You're structuring a new belief. Let's say you suddenly do believe in astrology. Now you start living your life focused on astrology, and you start checking your transits, and it becomes a focus, and you start working with it, or you start to teach. So you structure your life around teaching. So, but it's creating stability for you for the long haul. So all of these Taurus houses are creating stability for us for the long haul.
Well, and just one other thing with Virgo too, is that there was something coming through about it's another earth sign. So we've got the Taurus earth energy and then the Virgo earth energy. And it feels like they're also, because of that, there is that planting of a structure of a seed. It's like that higher octave of the Taurus energy as well. So
yeah,
just to be aware of that, like, it feels like there's some sort of nugget of importance for them to access that knowing that there is a new foundation for them that can be created now.
Yes, and I would think that this is a nice one for Virgo because they are Earth. They do want stability. So I would think Virgo 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. Trying to think if it trines. I don't have the round chart, but no, I do have the chart still up. I do. Let me look at Virgo, how it aspects them. Virgo. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Yeah, this new moon trines Virgo. Very nice.
Yeah.
So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So and then you always want to look at the ruler, because this is a Venus ruled eclipse. So you always want to look at your Venus houses, which is, there's so many things to look at when we do this. So
Yeah. We don't want to get too lost in the
I
weeds with
know
it,
exactly, but that's
yeah,
another thing to look at too. So anyway, yes, a lot of, also Taurus is a romantic and financial energy too. So I always forget to add that romance is very much a part of these stories, because our nodes and our destiny and our mission, which is what the nodes are squaring us to do, is often involving your other half. So yes. Okay.
All right. And speaking of that, Libra,
Libra.
other half, relationships, all that good stuff.
Yep, they're letting go of financial, they got Scorpio in the second house. So they're letting go of areas of safety measures and finances that are security based, that are not necessarily in alignment with their destiny. And they have Taurus over the 8th house. So new potential beginnings with joint resources, potential financial investments, stabilizing finances, creating a stable financial, shall we say, program, possibly starting to invest in new properties or in the market, stock market, letting go of fears around money, and taking more risks financially, potentially with a joint person joining your finances. There could be inheritance, so you restructuring, there could be an inheritance coming in. Basically, you could also have your debt expand, so be careful of that. If you do, you'll be getting a way out, so don't worry. Sometimes the debt expands for your highest good. It does end up bringing you results. I had Jupiter in my 8th, and I did invest in a piece of land, and it was costing me a money that felt, it was a debt, because it was a mortgage, so I had to pay it off, but now it's paid off, so it's great. Yay. So yeah, so Jupiter in your 8th might have you investing in something, paying a lot of money, and you feel very broke, and you're like, Jupiter in my 8th is supposed to make me feel, but actually in the long haul, it's going to do you well. So so 8th house activation for you guys, and with this square to Capricorn, these are your angular houses. You're most likely letting go of a fear around property, real estate, money, potentially letting go of a real estate situation with Cancer in your 10th. This is all aspecting all your cardinal houses, big shift in your work, money, letting go of a money way, letting go of a career, fear-based career that was creating financial security now gets let go, so that you can create more stability through investments, potentially through investing in real estate or properties. I know a lot of Libras who don't work, they just, because they have Capricorn over their 4th house and they have Jupiter there, they do very well. A lot of people, like a lot of Libras I know have Jupiter there, they do very well on investment properties and they don't work. So maybe you can let go of a job now if you've invested and your investment is expanding. So
I would love that. That would be great.
Yep.
Unfortunately, that doesn't, I mean, this is not specifically talking about me, but
yeah.
I love that. Wonder if there's any Libras. Let me pop over to any Libras watching. I don't know. No one's chiming in yet. Yeah, folks who are on live, like if you are, resonating with any of this, if you have any questions about what maybe we're talking about or how it relates to you specifically, pop some comments, questions, love into the chat. We love.
Fill us in with any exciting things happening during these eclipses. So I think, were we good on Libra?
Yeah, I think so. Yeah, I think maybe Scorpio.
Scorpio. So you guys
next.
are really going through a shakeups. I know a few Scorpios who are really, they are having like the most fascinating experiences, because they're constantly moving and letting go of relationships, because they've had the eclipses. So they're ending relationships. A couple of Scorpio I know have been like in 3 relationships in the last, just trying to find their relationships, so there's definitely releasing of relationship alignment. So Scorpio are purifying. Whenever you have eclipses in your 1st and 2nd, you're letting go, in 1st and 7th, sorry, you're letting go of you sacrificing your identity for a relationship, you not being who you are to keep a relationship, something that you do toxically to hold on to your relationships. That costs you. That's an expending of who you are that goes against your true nature, or what you need, or where you need to be in your life right now, but you go against it to be in the relationship. So it's like, so Scorpio are releasing and becoming more and more independent, more on their own 2 feet, and seeking self-alignment. So we're letting go of the things that stop you from aligning with your own self, your own intelligence, you. And identities, letting go of old identities. So there's lack of potentially letting go of addictions, going through total transformations, letting go of a whole old way of being and becoming a whole new version of yourself, a new identity. So being sober. Fear-based, letting go of fear-based, to thriving now, believing, having more faith. This is when you become, and Jupiter is going to be opposing your house, your sign. So you're going to be seeing all the ways that you acted in ways that weren't based in faith. So you're going to have more of an in faith way of living. In other words, you're taking risks and believing in them, and knowing that that is for your, because if you're a Scorpio, you're here to have faith in the divine again, trust. Everybody is, but Scorpio really come kind of shaken up about that. That's kind of the energy where we don't let go of something and it becomes toxic to the point that we have to let go, and then we have to trust that you're going to survive, and then boom, you survive and you do very well. So so let's look at that. So Scorpio have Capricorn 9th in the 3rd and 4th. So letting go of fears, letting go of living situations, letting go of fear of sort of being homeless in a way. And then we have Mars, Cancer in your 9th. Yeah, beliefs, self-limiting beliefs, not believing in ourselves, not thinking you can do it, to believing now that you can. You know, that you are spiritual, sort of spiritual awakenings. I find I have spiritual awakenings whenever I have 9th house lunations. I see something new. I realize something new. I realize I maybe was wrong about an old opinion. So mind altering beliefs happening for Scorpio, deep.
Yeah, that feels to be very true as a Scorpio rising myself, and really accessing the beliefs that I have, and people not necessarily like conflicting with them, but sharing their own viewpoint, where I have an opportunity, an invitation to open my mind up to a new idea around something that I would hold to be very true for me.
Right.
And it doesn't mean that I agree or that I take on that belief, but it allows me that opportunity to play with, what if that were true? How would that change what I believe to be true about me and my life as well? And I think just being curious is really helpful.
Yeah, I think you're right. I think that's how it kind of plays out. It opens your mind. You realize something.
Yeah.
In tarot, I get the judgment card. It's like, oh, okay, I see now. I get it.
Yeah.
It's like I was going to not do tarot anymore because I thought maybe I should just do astrology or something. And then literally and I was having a lunation there, like maybe I'll just do these. And then literally someone is like banging at my door going, I need a room.
I love how you blend the two together.
Yeah.
Though,
so I realized I'm going to still do this. This is a need. It's kind of like a medicine that it seems to work. So it's like, I don't see why I go through that, but now I just feel pretty confident, even more so. So that's what happens with these new moons in the 9th house, is a new belief that expands your horizon, your vision, your philosophy, your openness to the universe, the cosmic. And then that opens up your abundance. That can open up something to your career even, because you then have faith in something. So,
all right. Well, and speaking of which,
Sagittarius, you guys have Taurus in your 6th house. So you're going to have Jupiter in your 6th house. So you're going to want to watch out for health issues because it's going to expand your issues if you have them, and then you're going to become conscious of what they are and you're going to fix them. So it's not like it's a bad thing, it's a good thing because then you deal with it. And that's when I had discovered, I think that, wait, no, I have to be sure if that's when I had discovered, but I'm Sagittarius sun, and I discovered I had Hashimoto's, a goiter, when Sagittarius went into my 6th house. So you discover a health thing, which then tilts, which gives you a spiritual awakening. That's actually what brought me into all of this philosophy and spiritualism, because that's the anecdote for the 6th house, because 6th house is is stressful. So we play out diseases that are based in lack of faith or stress. So, so the 6th house placement for Jupiter going into your 6th house, you're going to become active and you're going to be able to do it. You work hard at it and it's good. I changed my diet then. I established a new way of eating so that would last me more health. But it also, you get busy, you work hard, you're busy with Jupiter there for the whole year. You'll be actively working, busyness, potentially expanding on a job thing. But basically the 6th house is day-to-day, what you do on a day-to-day. So your day-to-day practices will change, busyness. Now, you could really go forward and become a health nut during that period, and health becomes your total focus. And it's not necessarily that you have an issue come up. If you don't have a planet there, you just become very health conscious, and you also really become very aware of spiritual practices and how your day-to-day level and how your day-to-day is better through spiritual practices. Or you may start becoming somebody who teaches spiritual practices, or you become very conscious of what you do on a day-to-day, and you change that and you become generally overall healthier. So all of that mixed in. And then with you guys having Capricorn in your 2nd house, so you are letting go of fears around money, because you guys have Capricorn and Cancer over your 8th. So you're letting go of a fear around money, and when I say letting go of a fear around money, I think money fears go away. So you're really at you stabilize some kind of a financial situation so that you can really focus on like the fear of like the period where you're really focused on finances is kind of evolving away, and you can now start to sort of relax and focus on your day-to-day routine and establish a day-to-day new life. You could be moved and you're establishing a new day-to-day routine in your life. Because you may have other planets in your chart that make you move. But Taurus in your 6th house is a reckoning and an awareness of what you do on a day-to-day level that either makes you healthy or wealthy. And you become conscious of it, which you then are now going to change, which then helps you become healthy and wealthy.
Those are 2 really great things.
Who wants more than that?
Well, there's so much more, but those are 2 great places.
There's relationships and stuff, but that's a good foundation. That's a good thing from which we then can do more with our lives.
Yes, exactly. So we have Barb who's tuning in, who's a Capricorn rising. So she is ready to hear the next little reading of Capricorns.
Well, I think this is a great time to be Capricorn, because you've had Pluto in your sign for so long, and we are at the last little bit. So Capricorns are really looking at the end lesson, the last little lesson that they were here to learn with that Pluto. So they're really letting go of an ego, because it's going to be in their 1st house, and there's some sort of an ego, which only just means what you think, and the fear of control. So, so Capricorn are really letting go and letting live. Like, I know as corny as that sounds, but because Pluto was there, and now what happens? Now they are ready. They've got Taurus in their 5th house. This is where Capricorn need to evolve as souls to become more creatives, to become more, you could either have a child, get pregnant and have a child, because Jupiter there, very, very high potential of that. Or you take on a creative project, or your creative talents, because you've come through so much karma, which is releasing fear, control of your finances, being so security-based that you now open up to the flair of life, the fun of life, the joy, the creativity, and you stop, shall we say, focusing on being materialistically safe. And when I say that, I don't mean that in a negative way. There is a certain amount of that we need to create stability in our lives, but you're releasing that as being your source of salvation. And you're now seeing as a creative, actually financial expansion occurring through creativity, through creative ventures. I know a Capricorn who has been resistant to walking his more creative path, and now being hired for more creative projects, and just it's opening up for them. It is a good indicator where you have Taurus that you can make good money there. That's a money making house. So Capricorns are realizing, go with the creative flair, go with that fun, go with the joy, let go, ignite others. That's the reason to be here. Create more life, not just structure. It's like adding the chocolate and the peanut butter in the Reese's because it's adding what that structure really needs, which is flair and fun and joy and creativity. So I like that a lot for Capricorn. They've really deserved this too. They've earned it. And when Pluto goes back in their sign a little bit, you're just mastering that last little bit of that lesson, which is, oh, do I go into fear mode and hang on to my security, or do I get up the karmic wheel and trust and go for a new life, new path, and trust that I'll be okay. And it's creative. So you will be okay because Jupiter is there. You will be okay. Wherever Jupiter transits, you're going to be okay. Even if you do spend too much money, it's in your second house and you overspend, you're going to end up okay in some weird way because Jupiter looks out for everybody.
The other thing that feels so important for Capricorn too is whatever has shown up for you in these tougher times, as far as maybe an issue that you had or some sort of roadblock or something, use that as like, what did you discover in that? And how can you create something from that discovery? How can you use the knowledge that you gain from your experiences and create a new structure for the future that's creative?
You're going to Capricorn are going to be tested to get back on that karma wheel. So stay off that wheel. And that's what, because
just stay off the wheel.
Get off that wheel. You might be tested, you might get triggered. But because I have it squaring my Venus, so it's possible. But I don't think I think on the whole you're going to see the growth you've made, and that you can really let this thing go that was a security-based thing. So it's that final, you tested me, it's okay, I don't need it. I've let this go now. So and it's just a little bit, and then we got Pluto going into Aquarius forever now. So Capricorn, you're on the mends, you're out of the woods, as it were. Yeah.
So don't worry. Don't get tripped up.
Yeah. Be chill, Capricorn, be chill.
So funny. Okay. Aquarius.
Aquarius. Okay, you guys have all this squaring. This is squaring your houses. It's on your cardinal axis. So you're going to have Jupiter in your fourth house. So real estate property investments are going to expand. You're going to move. You could move. Or you could start building a new property because it's very building energy. Or you start farming, you start a farm, you start growing things, you invest in property. A lot of people are doing that now. They're investing in land and planting because it's so much better to have local produce than driving in trucks and creating smoke. And then the produce loses all of its vitamins in that process. So we really do want more locally grown things. So perhaps that becomes a business operation, or you invest in real estate. You expand your fourth house. Your family can expand. You get more children. You adopt children. Your child has a child. Family gets bigger. What else? And you're overcoming a fear, and you might invest in a property. You may be an Aquarius on a fixed income, and you decide to risk your money and invest in a property, and it really puts you on the edge. But I say do it. You'll be okay. You'll get there. Your finances could expand. Your property value could expand. The real estate you have invested in could expand. Or you decide to start investing in real estate, expand your income through real estate. That would work. It would work. What else? You could put redevelop your house, redo your house. What else? Fourth house, Jupiter expansion. So what are we letting go of? We're squaring the 10th house, career, new beginnings, Scorpio. You're letting go of toxic work environments, work situations. Perhaps you start working at home. That could happen. A lot of people do that now. It's great. So that could be a thing. You buy a property that you then create work. You then buy a studio space and you work from there. You invest in property that you then put offices and rent that out. But we're really looking at expansion of finances through real estate for the next year. Or expanding your finances through a real estate situation or a living situation. You decide to move into a loft and then you rent half of it out as a studio space or something. So basically good movement in finances and real estate family. And what are we've got Capricorn in your 12th. So with Capricorn in your 12th, and you've got that, let me just see.
The other thing that came to mind as
Yep.
you're looking at that, Madelaine, with the Aquarian energy is, I don't know if somebody out there, maybe it's a family business. So because it's fourth house, you know, it could be there's a family business opportunity for a different path. You know, maybe someone in the family, like the son or daughter, was going to take over the family business, and they realize, you know, being an Aquarius, this is not really something that I'm aligned with. I really want to do something different. Or maybe they take over and they take it in a whole new direction, a whole new energy.
Yep. I mean, basically something that is financially progressive, that is going to last a long time for Taurus, involving family. Yes, absolutely. Maybe they do start a family business. That's absolutely possible. Yeah. And it's all about home, family, property, real estate, farming, family, all that stuff. And they're letting go of the fears they have of, because the nodes right now is there as well, but they're going to be, because they've got Capricorn over their 12th. So they're about to have Pluto in their first house. So they're going through big transformations, big ego transformations. So they're creating stability in their fourth house as they go through ego and death and rebirth of their whole identity. You know? Yeah. So anyway.
But that's good stuff. I mean, it's good.
Yeah.
Moving them in a new, more aligned direction.
Yes.
And then rounding out all the signs, Pisces.
So you guys have Taurus over your third house, and you have Pluto and all that happening in between your 11th and 12th. Wow. So Pisces have cleared a lot of karma around friendship groups, tribe, internet, social media, types of people that you know through internet and networking. I know my Pisces rising sun had a lot of fallings out with certain groups, and finding your true tribe has been the Pisces journey with Pluto there. So Pisces are now have really overcome. They've really let go, and they don't care. So on some level, they were trying to control what people thought of them or how they looked, or trying to be they're very sort of controlling of their image online. Now they're really going through a transformation and letting that go, and starting in a way, potentially a new business, because Taurus over the third is going to be more busy day-to-day living, a potential work situation, potential moving, but busyness on their website. They're going to have they might start a new internet work, because the third house can be your website. So they're letting go of what people think of them. They're starting a new website and internet presence, or writing projects, you could be like, if most Pisces are artists and creatives, you could be a musician. You're going to get into writing projects now with people. My son is doing that. It could be almost a new business that you're starting. But I always forget that Taurus is also very creative energy. We should always add that. So creative writing projects coming in. And so, but they're really letting go of controlling what people think of them. So they're opening up to a project that may go against what they thought was really what was cool or what they should try to cultivate. And it's going against that image, but they like it. It feels right. They're making money at it. So it's happening. You can't help it. Pluto squaring the nodes. You're most likely going to see that financially you're supported going the other way. And you wake up to it. I love the song in the background. Anyways, try not to distract me. It's funny because my son is a musician and we love this song together.
What
Anyway,
song is it?
It's Dua Lipa. Get it away from me tonight. Da, 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 yeah, 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 yeah. I don't know the name of the song. I forget the name of the song.
I think I know which one you mean. I'm not.
Yeah.
But it's escaping me.
Anyway,
That's funny. That's
yeah.
funny.
So anyway, so what are they getting over that fear of what people think of them? And you know what? This is great because this is good money. When you get over that in your 11th house, having Capricorn Pluto there, you're getting over that. It's like you're getting over yourself. You're just busting out. Pisces, funny, the song is in the background. It's kind of the energy of the song. It's like you just believe in yourself. You're getting out there. You're speaking up. You're confident because the 3rd house, Jupiter there, you're talking a lot. It's working. You're making money at that. So it's really good for Pisces, actually. I really like it because they're getting over that fear of Cancer's in the 5th house, creative, some kind of a creative project, some sort of a creative project opening up that they see a financial opportunity through that changes their whole idea of what kind of a creative person they are and the kind of identity, the way they've been marketing themselves, the way they've been networking, a whole like shift. And it's much more lucrative, much more in alignment.
Yeah.
So it's kind of like their ego. It's kind of like me not having time to make myself look better. You just have to get it on there and get over yourself and do it. And that's
just do it.
Yeah. And so that's what's happening with the Pisces in general, with their whole identity, getting out there and just kind of being like wild in a way. I mean, I know that sounds kind of weird me to say that, but that's kind of the energy of it's like they're opening up because they've been so oppressed, but they chose to be. Pisces oppress themselves with their minds. They have very doomsday thoughts and they try to control what people think of them a lot. But with this lunation, they're going to see that by letting go of that control, they're getting the results that they were hoping to get by being controlling.
And how much fun is that? To
I
let
know.
go of something and then go, wow, oh, this is so much better.
Yes, I could have just been having a good time all this time. I mean, that's actually what we're seeing. Because they have Mars in the 5th house, they're going to start letting go. Mars is going to be leaving, but Venus is there. They're going to let go and have more fun, have a good time, get over their ego. Everybody's getting over their ego with that Mars squaring the nodes, that squares Pluto, opposing Pluto. You're getting over that ego identity that stops you from really doing being here and living the depth of your soul's calling.
Yeah.
And that's what astrology and tarot is trying to really do, is to get us out of our ego into our intuitive guided knowing. And the stars and the tarot usually align you with that. You can feel it. So
so cool.
I know. I really like this new moon. I think it's going to be really great.
It is. And I think it feels to me like there's a lot of energy. There's a lot of intensity.
Yes.
And so it's all really good. It's how do you play with that energy for yourself, and what it kind of, to bring it back to where we started, it's like, what is your attitude and your perception around what is happening in your life?
And with these heavy duty ascension energies too, at the same time, especially around these new moons and eclipses, you're almost like, I can feel like with me, my brain hardly working. It's almost like you're thrown into a way that you don't have the energy to go out of alignment. You don't have the energy to fight these ascension energies literally like make you want to sleep and rest, and your mind doesn't work as well. So you don't continue off the path. You're more surrendered to where everything is going. You're like, oh, well.
It's too hard to go do anything else. Yeah, I totally feel that. I get that same feeling. for
Yeah.
sure. So, yeah,
So
very
yeah,
excited that for those who joined us, let me see if there's any other comments that need to be addressed while we're here. Barb, who was the Capricorn rising, she was talking about working with Reiki, and you know, Reiki is
I
awesome.
love
You
it.
know,
Yep.
when it comes to with the Capricorn energy of that
Mm,
creativity, using that for inspiration and creation, you know, the
yeah.
rejuvenating your life force energy. And just in
Ah,
general, you know, any sort of energy modalities that you you know, or you have access to. Maybe there's somebody that you could go see. Body work is also really great.
yeah,
Massage,
Reiki's great. That new
Reiki.
moon for Capricorn is going to be in between the 5th and the 6th. So that is kind of the 6th house is kind of Reiki, you know. So it's like that's right in between there. So it's like ending a situation and then restarting a new work thing. That works for Capricorn too in the health world. Yes.
Yeah, yeah. So
New
good stuff.
chapter.
We hope
Oh,
everyone enjoyed. Did you want to add
yeah, I
something?
just wanted to mention because people don't know how to get a hold of me. They're like, how do I get a reading? Just go ahead and message me here on Instagram or YouTube. Just message me. And I hardly use my scheduling app because so many people text me for readings, so I can never do the back and forth. So yeah, just message me and I will text you my number, message you my number, and you can contact me that way. Sorry.
Well, on this video, Madelaine's information and
Yeah.
on the Karmic Kindness channel is in the description. So
Yeah, you can also email me as well.
yeah. So that's a great way to get in touch with her. You can find me at karmickindness.com for oh gosh, all sorts of things. You know, if you want to have a sense of yourself through the lens of you know, human design and soul contract and the gene keys, or what I do with people is I don't do the one-off readings. We work together for a period of time so that you can get to know yourself, get to know your relationships, get to know yourself through relationships. And then I use the flower essences. I use, if you have medical things going on, we look at the metaphysical reasons, the root causes behind them, and just the intuitive knowing and the guidance and the channeled information that comes through. It's really cool. Also looking at your galactic heritage, you know, what star system are you from? If that's something that you want to play and dance in, reach out to me.
Wow, that's interesting.
Yeah, it's really cool. So yeah, so all the information for Madelaine and I is below. We're so excited that you were here with us. Thank you for those who stayed till the end. Thank you for those who are watching the replay, and we will see you in 2 weeks for the full moon in Sag, I believe.
Is it Sagittarius? Yep.
For the I
Sun
think
will
so.
be Gemini. So yep.
Yeah. All right,
Thanks,
folks.
Amalia, for having me.
All right, everyone.
Thanks everybody for watching.
All right, we'll see you in 2 weeks. Bye for now.
Bye.